All right. What's going on? This is going to be more of a tactical podcast. Welcome back to Not Another Podcast, the only podcast where I am the one talking. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I have two shows going on right now that I want to continue. The first one is this one. It is going to be a more tactical and useful recap of the things that I'm doing in my life to improve it, to build a better business, to be a better athlete, to improve my mental toughness, to be a better human. It's going to be those things that I'm doing day to day that are making the biggest difference, or things that I'm trying. Just really documenting my journey in this world of trying to be the best person, build the best business, stuff like that. There's a second show which you will not see for a very long time, and it's going to be called A Year Ahead, or The Year Ahead, or A Year, I think it's A Year Ahead, yeah. That episode, or that show, is intended to be my personal documentation of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what is happening in my life at any given moment. The purpose of that one is to say, look, how cool would it have been if we saw like Bezos when he got his heart broken one time back in high school, or Musk when he was having home issues. I wanted to document those exact same things, but my struggle was that if I recorded those things and then released them, the people that are involved in those situations at the time may see that stuff, and that's how they find out about things, how I'm thinking about it, and it won't be through the conversations that I have with them, which I think was a major problem of mine, because I like handling the problems by being the person that addresses them as opposed to somebody finding out in some other way. So that show is being recorded weekly currently with a 1 year release time delay, meaning that every episode I record will be released a year later from when it was recorded. So that's what's going on right now. With that being said, this is current, meaning that you're seeing it within hours or days of it being recorded, because it is what I'm doing right now. So, it is Monday, October 21st, 2024 at 6:59 in the morning. I've got a cup of coffee here in front of me, a latte that I'm about 2/3 of the way done with, and I've got some notes in front of me of the different things that I want to talk about in this episode. So, mostly, this is going to be on my business and my mental. This episode particularly is going to be mostly around my business and my mental. And I want to preface this episode by saying that there are two definitions of two different words that I am using in my daily life right now that are really impactful and influential in what I do. The first one is humility. The second one is manifestation. The reason that those are the two things that I'm using so hard right now and going on so hard. Let's talk about humility first. My favorite definition of humility that I've ever heard to date was, I got it from Alex Hormozi. I believe he got it from somebody else. I don't remember who, but I got it from Alex Hormozi. He says, humility is not decrease in regard for self, but it is increase in regard for others. Meaning, you don't have to dumb yourself down. You can still have tremendous amounts of confidence, believe that you're the shit, whatever. You can still believe those things as long as you still perceive other people as higher than you, or you still have higher regard for others, meaning I look up to everybody around me. I can believe that I'm the shit as long as I look at everybody else and say, I still have so much to learn from you. I'm confident. I'm amazing. I'm a really good person. I'm a really good operator, and I'm learning so much. I'm good at learning, but I have these other people around me that I can learn from, and I never want to be better than them. I want to be better than them, but I never believe that I am better than them. I still believe I have something to learn, and I still value them as a human being. So that's what I look at when it comes to humility. So I take everything that I do and try to look at it through that lens, making sure that in my day-to-day life, I'm looking at everybody in higher regard than myself, not by lowering myself, but by increasing them. The second word is manifestation, which a lot of people have a bad definition of, including myself up to this point, when I would look at manifestation as like some woo-woo, just manifest it into your life, say affirmations in the mirror type stuff that I just never could jive with until I heard this definition of manifestation, and it really changed the way that I look at the word because it changes your entire lifestyle. The definition that I heard of manifestation recently that changed everything for me is manifestation is not getting what you want. It is the awareness and understanding that you get what you are. Manifestation is not getting what you want. Manifestation is the awareness and understanding that you get what you are. Meaning, you don't just say a bunch of affirmations in the mirror and then things automatically happen. But you understand and you are aware of who you are, and that who you are and the actions you take in accordance with that person determines the outcome and what comes to you. It changes the entire way that you live life completely. And I absolutely love it. So those are the two definitions that I take pretty much into everything, making sure that I'm looking at other people in higher regard than myself, and make sure that everything that I do, I understand that I'm going to reap the benefits or the karmic benefits, karma, of that person. And I try to act in accordance with the person that I want to be at all times, or as much as humanly possible, as much as I am possible without messing up. That's the goal. So with that being said, here are some of the things that I'm doing in my life. Keeping those two things in mind, here are some things that I'm doing in my life, but professionally and personally, that I'm going to be trying. And I'm going to be updating you each week with new things that I'm trying or how those things are working out. So I just bullet pointed a lot of things here on this paper, and I'm just going to go through them one by one. How my buddy Chris is going to help me. So I just started working with a buddy of mine named Chris. He's he's in the fitness and lifestyle portion of my life and mental state portion of my life, where I train with him and I work on being a better person with him. He's not somebody that I do business with. He's not somebody that I work with, but he pushes me and helps me learn in so many ways about being a better physical human being, eating right, sleeping right, training right, thinking right, pushing myself personally. And he agreed to basically manage my life in a way. So he's basically just going to be on my ass. He's the reason I'm recording this episode now, to make sure that all of my tasks get done, make sure this podcast gets recorded, make sure my content gets published and created and published, to make sure that everything gets done. And he's going to help me a little bit on the sales side. So creating lists in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then helping me reach out to those people and generate leads. So that's how he's going to start helping me in that way. I didn't have somebody to do that for me before, and although I've been able to be self-accountable before, it is a lot of effort. So although I am capable of doing it, this is my way of making it a little bit easier, because it is easier for me to be accountable to somebody else than it is for me to be accountable to myself. And that is something that I'm actively working on, but this was a short-term band-aid for that solution. Speaking of LinkedIn Sales Nav, I'm using LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Skylead. I was using LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Wallachsy before for my lead generation. LinkedIn Sales Navigator allowed me to build lists of people and companies that I wanted to work with or reach out to. And then Wallachsy was my way of sending connection requests and stuff. Wallachsy was a little bit expensive, and I found another version of a similar program that does almost the same thing for a very menial price in comparison to Wallachsy. So I started using Skylead. Skylead basically sends connection requests. It finds their LinkedIn profile and their email, sends them a connection request. When they accept it, or if they do, if they don't accept it, sends them an email. If they do, sends them a message, then an email, then another message. And it basically is an outreach tool for LinkedIn and email. So I started using that. And I think I'm probably also going to end up using Apollo at some point, but I'm not quite sure where to integrate that into my life or my workflow yet. Apollo.io is an email outreach platform where I might just end up, using Skylead for my LinkedIn outreach and then using Apollo for the email outreach, because Apollo is significantly better in the email side. So I don't really know what's going to happen there. We'll find out. But that's what I'm currently doing for outreach, for the automated side of the outreach. And then I'm also going to continue to do personal outreach. Like what I do is sometimes I'll go and I'll find a business that I'm like, man, this would be really cool to work with. I'll find the CEO, the CMO, the founders, whatever it takes. and do some research on them, do some research on the company. Like by research, I mean that I'm just going and searching and browsing for like relevant stuff, things that I find interesting, whatever, 15, 20 minutes tops. And then I go and I send them a video message and I say, hey, love what you guys are doing. Looks like you guys have this, and this going on. But the video message just really takes away the ability for it to be, an automated message in their eyes. And it really isn't. It's not an automated message. I found them through LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but I then researched what they did and I said, hey, this was really interesting to me. Love this. If you're interested, we could rock and roll with some stuff. This is something I just started doing, so I haven't really seen any tangible results from it, mostly because the people that I've been sending the messages to haven't even seen the videos yet. So that's something else I'm trying to figure out is like, how do I increase response rates for cold DMs or in-mail messages? It's kind of tough, actually. I'm struggling a little bit with that one, but we'll work it out. I have this content team down in Miami called Illusions that I may actually end up, forking up some more cash for them to create some more clips from my podcast episodes that I'm going to be doing and YouTube episodes that I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I want to bring them in on it yet or if I just want to do all of it myself so I know what's going on, or if I want a content team's help. It's 3 people based out of Miami. They all live together and they're awesome. They're great people. But I don't know if I want to do it myself, but we'll see. I just did an event this past Saturday with a Filipino family, and we did a debut party, which is basically like a Filipino version of like a quinceañera or a Sweet 16. It's a coming of age party for 18-year-old Filipino girls, and it was an awesome party. It was absolutely banging. It was sick. But a lot of people there got my number, got my information, and they want to possibly work with me. So I'm hoping that the word of mouth from this event works in my favor pretty well, because that would be awesome to have a good local base of people that are all hiring me to do work and stuff like that. If it's all local, that would be so nice to make $1,000, $1,500, $500, just here and there doing local events, which I'm really, really hopeful for. Same thing for this event that I just did with Public Square. I'm hoping that by being the guy that's affiliated or associated with Public Square in some capacity, more of those businesses, I can start reaching out to me, or I can reach out to other businesses on the Public Square platform with the street cred that I get from being the guy that works with Public Square. And I'm hoping that that'll lower the barrier of entry for me to get into the DMs of bigger businesses that are on the Public Square platform. So that's kind of the approach that I'm taking with this right now. And I think it'll work, but we'll see what actually ends up happening. Let's see what else is on this sheet here. I feel a little bit dumb. And the reason for that, I wrote this down yesterday, is some of my earliest clients that paid me the most came from me being super active on LinkedIn and writing posts all the time, engaging with tons of posts all the time, writing my own posts, I think I already said that, and then offering to do work for people that I was engaging with. And some of my biggest clients with some of the biggest paychecks came from doing that. And yet the moment that I got busy, that was the first thing to go down. And now looking at that, I'm like, man, I just need to do the simple shit. This is my attempt at, continuing to come back and do the simple shit. But I feel super dumb because I let my LinkedIn drop and I stopped outreach. Plus, I feel kind of dumb because I didn't buy any ads on what were at the time underpriced newsletters, because I got a free feature in a newsletter just for doing some awesome work. And I ended up getting 2 clients that both paid me over 10 grand from that over time. And the fact that I then at the time looked at a $2,500 investment for a spot ad on one of these, on this particular newsletter at the time, I was like, man, I feel really dumb for not buying a $2,500 newsletter to basically guarantee to make like 5 to 10 grand. So anyway, that's something I feel really dumb with, and I'm probably going to be significantly more aggressive with opportunities like that. If they're under $2,000 or $3,000, I will probably be significantly more aggressive about taking advantage of those things, even if I have to go into some debt to do it and just outwork my spending. That's kind of what I'm doing. So those are just a couple things that I'm doing right now. I just plan to be super aggressive on the marketing side of things, getting my face in front of people more often with free mediums like this. The only thing it costs me is my time, which is recording this podcast episode or recording short form content, being super aggressive with getting more short form content out there by hiring a content agency or a creator individual to help me create more pieces of content. Ultimately, I want to get my face in front of more people. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal right now. That's kind of all that I have going on. Personally, I'm working on a lot of things athletically. So that's the other big segment of my life right now. I'm really, really focused in my athletic career. I'm just getting over this cough that I've had for like almost a month now, which is super, super annoying. And I'm drinking a latte, which has milk in it, which, hindsight being what it is, terrible idea. Anyhow, the other huge focus in my life is my athletic career. And I'm focusing so hard on just making sure that I'm training right, eating right, and sleeping right to make sure that my physique stays the way that it is. I'm continuing to build muscle while maintaining being a good runner. That's my biggest goal right now. Now, I have this knee injury in my left knee. I've got an IT band injury that I'm at the tail end of healing. I've got an amazing chiropractic team down in Dunedin, the Source Chiropractic, Dunedin, that is working on my leg and working on my body and keeping and continuing my improvement. They've given me some exercises and stretches to do. I'm also working with a personal trainer that's helping me build muscle, and I'm working with a run coach who's helping me be the median between those two. So stretching and training from the chiropractic team, weightlifting from my personal coach or my personal training coach, and then a kind of mix between the two from my run coach. And I'm getting a healthy balance in life, and I feel really good about the way that things are going. I'm eating very, very, very clean, very little, processed foods, if any. Really just eating like meat and carbs all the time. It's working out very well for me. I look good. I feel great. But that's what I'm focused on right now. It does suck not being able to run as much because of my knee injury. And I've felt my VO2 max go down, and I've felt my endurance go down because I go out to run, and like 3 miles is kind of difficult for me now when like before it was a breeze. So that's super, super obnoxious, but ultimately just eating right, sleeping right, training right. So that's the goal. But that's what I'm doing right now in my podcast, in my life. And to add to that is just doing this podcast and trying to repurpose as much content from this as possible. So that's the goal. Set myself up for success in this way, and keep recording this podcast and the Year Ahead podcast every week. Forever. That's the goal. So that's what I'm doing this week. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I've been doing. That's what I'm going to try to do. And you guys will get an update from me next week. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Not Another Podcast. Look, if there was something in this episode that resonated with you, or you have a suggestion, the best way that you can help me is by leaving feedback. I want to hear from you. My social media, my Instagram is @5che. My email is che@nottshots.com, CHAY@NOTTSHOTS.com. I want to hear from you about this episode, and I want you to tell me what you liked, what you didn't, or if you have a suggestion for something that I'm doing. I'm open to hearing it, because the goal is to build a business as fast as possible. And if I can learn skills that would help me do that faster, that's more valuable than anything I could do. So I want to hear from you. Let me know what you thought you liked about this episode. It's the best way you can help me out right now, is just giving me feedback. Not even rating, not even a review. Don't even give me a review yet. You haven't heard nearly enough for me to give me a review. But if you can just give me feedback on the show and tell me what you liked and what you didn't, that'll help me tremendously. So I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Just closed the book, because that's all. Have an amazing week, and I will see you next Monday.